Welcome to episode 3 of the MBR 972 Osprey Sports Car project and what I'm doing in the building, so on and so forth with it. In this video again, I'm going to be using the COVID footage. I took that during COVID because I had some friends that were quite interested in the project, and a lot of people weren't doing a lot, so I made some film of what I was doing during the epidemic, and that was quite a good time for me as far as getting on with the work with the sports car, because I had no interruptions and I could really hack on with getting all the bodywork side of things done. So I did these videos then, because a lot of my friends are that I sent it to are into slot car racing, scale-electric racing. I'm into that. You might see in some of the other videos that I'm putting out, some of them are slot car racing, because I still do it and still thoroughly enjoy doing it. So they asked me various questions through the videos, and the start of this video is me answering some of their questions, which I think are quite relevant. So yeah, hope you enjoy the video.
Good evening. Tonight I've got videos on the following: questions from last week, what have we been doing on the car this week, and also one on the cooling system and on the exhaust system. Right, so first I'll go into the questions. First question was, could I know more about the bespoke dash in front of us? You can see, well, I've got a lot of subjects to go through, and I'll give you a list of the subjects I've still got to do. So obviously the first one is the dash. We've still got to do front and rear suspension systems, do the steering, all the electrics, car loom, engine loom, alternator, etc, etc. I've got to do bodywork, airbox and floors. Design and CAD I'm going to go through. Obviously I'm going to do something on the gearbox. That's probably at least 2 videos on that, doing differentials, etc, etc. I'm going to be doing drive shafts. They might look quite simple, but there's quite a lot of work going in to get them right. 3D printing on the car, uprights and wheel hubs, wheels and tyres, brakes, paddle systems. I think that's probably about it. So right, on to question 2. This one came in from Robin. And the question was, so on balance, why did you opt for fuel injection over carburetors? Basically, fuel injection is more controllable. I can alter the fuel injection via the ECU, and it's got so many advantages over the carburetor system. The other main thing that it does help on is obviously emissions are going to get tighter and tighter. With the fuel injection system, it's a lot easier to control emissions. So yes, you can put as much or little fuel in your car by just basically programming it as you would like. So that's the main reason, and it's a little bit easier to package, probably a little bit more complicated, but on the upside, a much better system to go for. Right, so question 3 was one from Steve, and again another one from Robin, which are very, very close. I'll read out both questions. The choice of a Rover V8 seems natural given the Osprey's heritage, but wouldn't it have been easier, e.g. for emissions, to have gone for a modern 4-pot with equivalent power? And Steve's very similar. Was the Rover engine the only option for the Osprey, or did you have others? Well, yeah, of course I could have put other engines in. The most logical choice would have been probably to go for the Chevy engines, the LS3, 5 or 7, and they range from sort of 350 up to 700 horsepower. But you're looking in the region of somewhere in the region of probably, for the base of those engines, £4,000, which for that sort of power is quite cheap, but it is still a lot of money. Whereas looking at the costs on this engine, obviously, as I said, I picked the engine up for 150 quid, probably spent, I don't know, a total of £750 on the engine, because I've done it all myself. So not a very expensive engine. Plus, if I want to, I can up the engine, because this is only a 3.9. I can go up to a 5 litre. So if I want 500 horsepower, I can have it. But I can't really see the reason that I want a mega powerful engine. So it's just going to burn more fuel, and it's going to improve the car. But the main thing with a car like this, hopefully some of you will get to sit in it, it'll be, the acceleration is great. You know, we're all sat in aeroplanes, you'll get the push up your back, and that's what you get with this car. But the impressive thing with a car like this is the braking and the handling. So I'm not too concerned with the engine. The other plus side with going for this engine, if something does silly happen to it and we have a failure, I can go and pick up another one for 150 quid and I haven't got to go and spend another big chunk of money. So really the main reason for this engine was cost. Okay, so that's that question answered. The next one was why did you use studs for the clutch plate? Right, well I've got a clutch over here. Here we go, here's the clutch. Now looking at this clutch, you can see obviously around this one there's 8 bolt holes. Now when you come on to put a twin plate clutch on, you've obviously got to depress these springs. And that's done by the big spring on the back here. Now to do it nicely, you've got to try and do all the bolts up evenly. Now imagine trying, if you can only get onto the back of a couple of the bolts, to get spanners on, turn it round, whereas if you've got studs, the back of the stud is held, so you can just go around evenly all the way around the nuts and do it. Right, last question I've got here is how can the low pressure pump keep up with the high pressure pump if it's at 7.5 psi and the main pressure is at 60 psi? So it's a very good question. Obviously you think you might run out of fuel, but it's not. It's about volume. Obviously there's the pump, as I said earlier in an earlier video down there. That pump can basically pump somewhere in the region of 3 litres a minute. Well, it doesn't take much calculation to know that you're not going to use anywhere near that amount of fuel when the car's on the road or even in race trimming. That sort of pump can at least handle an engine somewhere in the region up to 700 odd horsepower. So yeah, and that's at full chat all the time, so I'm nowhere near I'm going to use that sort of fuel. So obviously it's a volume thing, not a pressure thing. Now one thing I didn't explain last week is this pump down here. Why have I mounted it on the floor? It's not probably the best place to mount a fuel pump, on the floor. Now obviously if I had a proper bag tank, all the pumps would be mounted inside the bag tank, but it's compromised again. These high pressure pumps don't like heat. Now to mount it anywhere in this area or over the other side of the car, it's going to get warm. If they do get warm, you get cavitation and obviously fuel pressure drops as well. So I've had to keep it away from the main engine bay, and that's meant putting it here. As you can see, it's rubber mounted there, and yeah, heat was the main issue for the fuel pump. Okay, well I hope that's answered all your questions for this week, and we'll go on to the next subject, which is the water system.
I'm breaking into the video to show you what we've done on the rear bodywork latch. This has took quite a bit of time to do, probably the best part of 2 days work, 16 hours, because I wanted the body clips to fit flush, because on the race car we just used a pin with an R-clip and it just didn't look very nice, because I wanted something to look very seamless on the car. And as you can see by this picture, the catch works really quite nicely now, and in the following picture you'll see that you can hardly see the latch, which was the look I was trying to achieve, so very pleased with it.
Right, we're going to start off on water systems. Right, water systems. The main difference between a race car and a road car is the fact that a road car will have to spend a lot more time stationary, obviously traffic lights, queues, etc., than a race car will, and this creates its own problem. So I'm breaking into the old video with a little bit of new video. I've just set the radiators running, so you can probably hear quite a bit of background noise, but that goes with having the fans on, I'm afraid. Now here's a bit of paper just to show you how efficient that it is. I'll let go of the paper, and as you can see, bang, straight onto the radiator. Actually, quite tricky to get off. I'm going to go round now. You can see the other side of the rad duct because it's pulling the air through. If I go in closely, you should be able to see, hopefully, the fan spinning around the other side as well. Now, in addition, on the COVID video, I said we had a water outlet here. This is for any excess water that wants to come out of the system. It comes down that pipe and into this 3D printed catch tank. On the side of the catch tank here, which I might go into a bit later in another video, I've got a sight glass, and that just tells me how full the bottle is, so I haven't got to keep taking it on and off. And on the top here, again, we've 3D printed a little clip to hold the wire that comes from the fan and goes back into the loo, which is just a nice way of doing it. Most people just slap a fan onto a radiator and suck it through that way. Yes, it works, but it's not very efficient. Whereas this way, obviously I've sealed the radiator off, and all the air that I'm pulling through the radiator, it doesn't push it through, it pulls it through, goes through the radiator and keeps it cool. I've also done the added bonus of pointing these towards the exhaust systems, so obviously some of the air coming through here will cool the exhaust systems. Obviously the exhaust will be a lot hotter than the air coming through the radiator. Right, the other major difference I've done is if you look on the front of the engine here, it would normally have a mechanical pump, which is driven by the crankshaft, comes up to the water pump, and that whizzes the water around the engine. Now I've done away with that for two reasons. One, it's less efficient, and number two, or it's more efficient not to have it, and number two, obviously, as you can see, I haven't got much of I've got a packaging issue. Obviously the water pump will come to where the coils are, so it's sort of a bit of a win-win situation for me not having the pump on the front there, and it's obviously high up weight. So what I've done instead is I fitted an electrical pump. Great advantage with that is obviously, as if I want more power from the engine, I can increase the speed of the pump, and obviously if it's sitting in traffic as well, again, exactly the sort of thing I can do. I can increase the speed of the pump. So, and this will all be controlled by the ECU. Right, so I'll show you how the water goes around the engine. To start with, it's filled up by this header tank here. So you put the water in there, it comes down the pipe here into the bottom rail, and that's how the system's filled. So from the pump, pumps into the engine, all the way through the engine to the exit there. That then pumps it, as you can see, across there to the radiator that side, and the bottom of that radiator we've got a pipe, and that pipe comes all the way back across, as you can see under here, to the radiator here, and that radiator obviously from the top back to the pump again. I've got a couple of other little bleed offs, or one bleed off in particular, if you see up here, that comes from the top of the engine. So any air trapped at the top of the engine will come out of there and feed to the top of the header tank. So keeps this full, gets rid of all the air, and that blows there. That will go to the catch tank, which obviously haven't got that connected yet, so on and so forth. Right, I checked the water temperature. It's checked right at the top of the engine. You'll see there. There's a little water temperature sender unit. So that's how I keep an eye on what temperature is. And it's at the top of the engine because obviously that's the hottest point of the engine. Okay, so that's the water system done. Right, the last bit on this video, I want some input from you guys. It's about my handbrake caliper. I'm going to do a video on it coming up shortly. If you look in here, this is part of the handbrake caliper. Now this plate, I can leave it in aluminium as it is, or I'm quite fancy maybe doing it in carbon. So what would you think? I could actually, here we go, here's a piece of carbon. Whoops, get it in view. Piece of carbon I can make, and this is, oops, get it off in a second. Here we go, that's the plate for the other side. So I could quite easily make one in carbon, or the other option is I could hydro dip one of these plates to show you a bit more hydro dipping. So yeah, if you could let me know what you like, I can go either way. Right, this just about concludes the video. If you have any questions, especially on the handbrake caliper and the plate on the end of it, whether I'm going to leave it aluminium, whether I'm going to make a complete new carbon sheet, or I'm going to hydro dip it, those are the three choices. So please, if you want to comment below, feel free. My next episode is going to be in a fortnight's time. And lastly but not least, the famous, yes, please, if you can, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.